Dan Sullivan here with Alliant. We're at the Alliant Suite. It's Tuesday at CSUN. We've been randomly running into influencers and folks that have big impact in the accessibility space, and I got fortunate enough to share a couple of slices of pizza this afternoon with Jeff Whistle, who's the Chief Accessibility Officer at Disability Inn. Jeff, Alliant has just become a new corporate partner at Disability Inn. We attended the conference last year. I had some history with them in the past. Love that organization, but really the catalyst for me in wanting to get Alliant involved with Disability Inn was a conversation, ironically, I had a year ago with Lainey here at CSUN, where she talked about the work that she did working with you and Disability Inn to build out the Procure Access program. And I think 1 year later, here we are with some different things that we're doing. We're having 3 presentations this week on accessible procurement, but I really view you as kind of the passionate person that pushes the envelope forward. I see at least 10 to 12 sessions this week that are specifically focused on accessible procurement. And as someone who's been so passionate about it, I'd love to get your impression on how you feel about that and what's going on.
Absolutely. It's amazing to me to see the evolution of corporations realizing that they own their websites, their mobile space, and their physical space for accessibility. They have control over that, Dan. But one area, and whether they exercise control over accessibility leads us to the accessibility journey where all of our companies are. But one area where we don't have control is in the products and services that we procure. And most companies purchase thousands of products every year. And what's always interesting too is in order to be a buyer of a product or service, you tend to need to be a seller of a product or service as well. So it's a collaborative effort for buyers and sellers to collaborate together to realize that you can advance accessibility through that procurement process. So seeing the sessions here at CSUN around procurement accessibility, it's just moving the pendulum farther along in regards to realizing that the more that we can work collaboratively together, we can advance accessibility, and it's that it's just the awareness that this is an opportunity to do this. So it's great saying it at the Disability Inn Conference. We have sessions on procurement accessibility as well, and we focus on the corporate side. There's a lot of work being done in the government side in higher ed with higher ed and procurement. So it's really great to see all of this.
Yeah, and one of the things that we're constantly being asked by our customers, and our new offering where we offer free procurement accessibility assessments, one of the things that we're always constantly asked is, where's the blueprint? Where's the architecture of how to do this? Because I don't know where to get started. Mm-hmm. And whether you're a corporate partner of Disability Inn, and I highly recommend if you're not that you do, look into it. But I think, it's a public website and it's out there. If you go to Disability Inn in the Procure Access area, the whole blueprint on how to establish and put that in place is out there. I would encourage anybody to go take a look at it, but could you give me a little bit of background as to kind of the process and the team that you work with to develop the Procure Access program?
Absolutely. Kind of in conjunction with the philosophy of Teach Access and XR Access, it was a matter of an initiative. In this case, Procure Access started with Larry Goldberg, was with WGBH out of Boston, and then Yahoo, and Sarah Basson from Google. They literally were at a conference and they were talking about a major product, software program that both of their companies purchased, and it was broken. A brand new product was broken from an accessibility perspective. And as they were talking about that particular program, they realized, oh my gosh, there's others that we've purchased, and we're having to remediate this program brand new for accessibility. And I love Larry's analogy. It's like, would you ever go to a car dealership and the dealer says, here's your brand new car, the engine's not working correctly, do us a favor, take it home, figure out what's wrong with it, fix it, and then let us know how you fixed it. Essentially, if we buy a product that's not accessible or there's accessibility issues and it's brand new, we're kind of buying that car with a broken engine and asked to fix it. So the whole Procure Access initiative, disabilityinn.org, under procurement accessibility, has a complete toolkit that was made up and created by our corporate partners and other invited experts in the space. From start to finish, corporations can start a accessible procurement program. There's language that companies shared. It's that whole collaboration. Together we're better. When one of us wins in the space, we all win. And the more companies that contractually obligate each other to advance accessibility, They win because they're getting better products, but they're paying it forward for other companies that are using that same product. So it's a triple win all around.
That's great. And I know when I had the conversation with Lainey last year out on the exhibit hall floor, one of the areas where she said is, as we're deploying Procure Access and organizations are getting there, one of the challenges that they're having is being able to identify the resources to get an assessment done that's truly done by professionals within accessibility that can give some context. And it was really with that we sort of developed and built a new offering that we have, which is called Procure Ensure, which we have 3 sessions this week about, which offers any organization a free live audit of anything that they want to procure, and we will let them know where it stands relative to accessibility, so that that procurement professional who's not an expert in accessibility can have some confidence that they're moving their organization's agenda forward in a positive way. And we're really excited to talk about it. It's just amazing to me when I think about this seed got planted a year ago at CSUN, and that conversation with Lainey. We built out an entire offering. I'm looking at the sessions this week. There's a dozen that make reference to accessible procurement. One of the things I love about CSUN is I get to meet all the OGs in accessibility, of which I consider you to be one. Had dinner with Tom Lukowski last night. A lot of people are talking about accessible procurement. I think we have, and disability has a lot to do to thank you for the work that you've done and the passion that you've done in leading that topic.
It's an honor to be here. It's also, you mentioned Lainey Feingold. Lainey was the glue that got all of us together in advancing accessibility. That's the neat thing about this. So many corporations could be competitors in business, but they're collaborators in accessibility. And to have leaders like Larry Goldberg, Sarah Basson, Lainey Feingold, and so many others that worked collaboratively to create the Procure Access Toolkit and the Procure Access Statement that 34 leading companies have signed on, where they're publicly committing to working collaboratively to advance accessibility through the procurement process. It's just neat to be at a conference like this and the Disability In Conference, and like you said, to see the accessibility leaders and to know that they're advancing accessibility, which benefits all of us.
Yeah, it was funny when we were having dinner last night with Tom. I mean, one of the topics that I always find interesting, particularly in the accessibility space, is we always feel like we're pushing the rock uphill, and we always feel like we haven't arrived. But I think sometimes you just have to stop and take stock of where you're at and really celebrate the progress that we've had. And if I just look at 10, 12 sessions this week at CSUN about accessible procurement, this is an area where we're really making tangible forward progress, which I think is huge. And I just wanted to thank you for that work. Appreciate your time. We got a couple more pizzas here. We got a chance to eat here for some lunch. But Jeff, looking forward to seeing you and the rest of the Disability In team in Vegas in July for the national conference. Outside of CSUN, probably my favorite week of the year. So I'm really looking forward to it. Thanks for stopping by our suite.
Thanks, Dan.
All righty.